Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning.
Hello.
All right, let's start out the show with the opinion of a sportscaster.
Okay.
And you're like, what, are you trying to sneak in a golf story, Gary, or something? Or, the NFL playoffs? No. Not at all.
No.
In fact, this is a point that we made yesterday, but sportscaster Stephen A. Smith makes the same case, only louder.
He makes everything louder.
Here we go. Here it is.
You got a bounty on his head, and the Biden administration had a bounty on his head, and then another $50 million bounty and said 15 to 25 to 50. Once you got his ass, that's not something to be complaining about, because everybody was in on it. Everybody was cool with it. If you're cool with the bounty, you got to be cool with the capture. And not an American soldier died, not one. Not an American citizen got harmed, not one. Not one, not one. Come on now. This is what I mean when I talk about us being fair.
Now, the interesting thing is, and I forgot to do it. It happened before we went on Christmas vacation, and I went in to get my hair cut. And I go to the sports clips place.
Right. Yeah.
Which really, I mean, there's no sports on. I go in a weekday morning.
There's it's always the shows, whatever.
Yeah, it's always the shows. And so
not a game usually, yeah.
So there I am. I sit down. It's right before Christmas, and we had, I think the night before, we had played an audio cut from Stephen A. Smith. And so I sit down in the chair. There's a Christmas tree, right in front of me, and right to the side of the Christmas tree, when I look up, there's Stephen A. Smith's face right there, and I burst out laughing. And I actually took a picture of it. I meant to post it, but I never posted it. It was like, I can't get away from the guy.
I usually go right when they open, and so far I haven't seen Stephen A. Smith. In fact, to the point that I started wondering, well, is he not on full time anymore? But yeah, it's interesting. First of all the points that he made, yep. That's, this is where we are. I think it was, who was it that posted yesterday? I think it was Caroline Levitt that posted yesterday. Basically what we had said, you made the point of, well, why the $25 million bounty? If you didn't want him, why do you put a bounty on?
Right. Who's going to collect?
Right.
Who's going to do it?
Yeah, because Biden put the bounty out.
Right.
And so,
but who are the people that are going to get the bounty? Is Dog the bounty hunter going to go down there and get him and bring him back?
He might, actually. But it's wait for it. It's if you don't want him captured, you don't put a bounty. I mean, a bounty. $25 million. Not compared to the national debt, that's nothing. But 25, and compared to the other spending from the Biden administration, that's also nothing. But you put a $25 million bounty on his head for what? You didn't want him captured?
Right.
You didn't want him. What was the bounty for?
Did you want a group of mercenaries to go in and then collect on it later on? So the mercenaries go in on behest of the United States and the bounty.
Right.
And there's a firefight that goes on between mercenaries of the... Yeah, that's going to play a lot better than what happened, right?
Or was it just talk like the left does, where they... And
we want to pretend
because if it's just talk...
Right.
I have, and I know you have, publicly criticized Maduro and the policies in Venezuela. And if the $25 million was only to encourage people to talk bad about him, I want to get paid. because otherwise it was to take him out of power.
We deserve some of the scratch.
Right.
Remember when that used to be a term for money
The
back
scratch.
in the 70s?
Yeah.
Hey, you got some scratch for me? Give me some scratch.
Yeah, well, these days it's for something else. Yeah. Scratch means something else. But anywho,
I was referring to its association with money in the 70s.
Give me some scratch, some what else did they call it back? Dineros, and this is the whole purpose. A 25 million. By the way, why just 25 million? I mean, it was nothing but hot air to begin with. Say $1 billion. We'll make you a billionaire. Who wants to be a billionaire? I mean, why 20? Because 25 million. Honestly, there are probably a lot of gamers going, "Yeah, dude, I'm probably not going to do it for 25 million. I do it for 26." But it's you're putting it out there for a reason. You want him caught. You want him taken out of power. Did you mean it or not? And everybody was, Caroline Levitt posted that yesterday morning, and then others, and Stephen A. Smith makes the point. Look, let's quit being stupid about this.
Yeah.
Now, it's not to say that the trial is going to come with a burden of proof. That's the way it works. I did read where they were talking about some of the witnesses that may have, key witnesses that they may have that were under Maduro, that have also been taken in. However it goes, like any trial, there's a massive burden of proof. I saw was it the Polymarket's social media page? It said the odds, I think it was them, the odds of him being prosecuted and found guilty on all the charges has come down somewhat. But then you look at it and it's like, yeah, no, most likely he's going to be found guilty. Now, again, I don't know because I have no idea what's going to be presented, how this whole thing's going to go.
The problem, as we said yesterday, the problem with everything going on, and we'll get to the specifics, the Greenland thing and Venezuela. By the way, the oil is nothing.
No, it's
already somebody asked me. They said, "What do you think?" I go, "I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I don't know what this high quality oil Trump's talking about because they have the heavy crude down there."
Right.
So I don't know what that means.
Right.
They're
high sulfur content.
Right.
Yeah.
No. I know what that means.
Right. I was saying it for people that don't know.
Right. And so it's not like the light sweet crude we have here in the United States. So I don't know what Trump meant. What he meant by that, but as you pointed out, it's a couple of $1 billion.
It's anywhere based on current market prices. Checked it about 9 p.m. It's anywhere from 2.2 billion to 2.8 billion.
Right, and the amount of oil it is, because you hear these, 50 million, 30 to 50 million barrels. It's a day to let me see, it'd be about a day and a half to 2.5 days of the oil that the U.S. uses.
Right.
Day and a half would, and so why he is obsessed with that, I don't know.
Well, if it's the beginning of the cooperation for those that are occupying the office there in Venezuela, and it's the first door opener kind of agreement that they have come to, if it does come to fruition.
But why? Here's what I would want.
Mm-hmm.
You're out. The promise of free elections, and there's one more thing. And the release of political prisoners.
Yes,
to me that comes first before $2 billion worth of oil, which again he has to say, well, it will go to the people of Venezuela and us.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Who controls that money? Does Trump control that money?
Well, he said, in fact, they said he's personally going to oversee the sale of it. And I thought, well, I mean, he's the commander in chief, but it will be.
Well, you can do that. You can be over the sales part of it.
Yeah.
The actual money, though.
Yeah.
Congress spends money. If the United States gets money, Congress spends it.
Right.
And so, but if it's a deal, if it's a first part of a deal, because we all know why they're doing it. They're doing it because they wish to stay in power.
Mm-hmm.
If they're doing it in order to stay in power, it's a bad thing. That's not a good thing. If you're using it to say, let's stay in power, tell Trump we're going to send him send him oil that will last at a maximum 2.5 days in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't get you anywhere.
Right. It's and I don't know what falls under, like, when there's a bust by the DEA, when there's a bust by law enforcement, basically on any level, they can keep whatever resources. I didn't see anybody making the case that this falls under that.
If that happens under the federal level, Congress has approved that.
Right. Yeah. Then it gets to stay where, I guess, it would have to go to somewhere within the DOJ or DEA, I guess, as reimbursement for resources spent. I don't know. I didn't see anybody making that case. I'm just asking questions in my mind. But, it's not this isn't, if you said we're immediately going to be up and running, the Chevron has agreed to do this and blah, 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 blah. We don't even know what the corporations that Trump has mentioned, Chevron's mentioned because they still have operations there. But we don't know, again, what they're willing to do, because they know there's great risk and great uncertainty, in going into a place like that. You have no idea. It's still on the brink.
Well, here's the other thing, that if you go in, the oil companies in the United States are going to go in. Well, it's going to take a couple of years to get up, to do what you wanted to get done there, correct? Build refineries, do whatever you need. Well, maybe not build refineries, but go in and tackle the entire thing. A lot of your private assets in there. Trump's gone. Democrats win in 28. That's all gone. They lose everything. All the investment they put in is gone again.
Any assets that they had, whether it's Chevron or any other oil company that were there before that Venezuela confiscated or took over, it's going to be a risk. It's almost going to be a small battle of its own going in to secure those assets. And I don't know how you would provide security for that kind of operation, for the private sector to be in there, for those oil companies. And I'm just saying, I absolutely don't know. You would need security forces that are on our side, that are us.
Here's how I would have done the oil thing. Here's how I would have marketed it. I would have marketed it and said, because of what happened in Venezuela, many American companies lost property. They lost billions upon billions of dollars.
Yeah.
We are getting this up front from this government that we don't wish to stay.
Right.
We wish to have free elections in the country, but we're getting money back that we will reimburse companies now if they wish to sue later under, a free Venezuelan government, because of the losses that they had because their property was confiscated.
Right.
Well, then they can do that. But this is the first payment to the American companies that were doing business in good faith down in Venezuela, and their property was taken by Chavez and Maduro.
And if that's the intent, you need to make that clear from the get-go.
Right. Because at that point, Americans go, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, because it's not just the oil companies, like GM had their plant shut down, confiscated all the vehicles that had been manufactured there.
And I meant that too. That the oil money would go to any company, that American company that was down there. That's how you sell it to the American public.
Yeah. And also I would come out. Remember on the tariff thing, how he brought out the big boards that had all the numbers on them? I'd bring out some numbers or release it online, something where you could demonstrate and say, hey, This is what was confiscated, American property that was confiscated.
Right. Because
and this is what we're looking to get back for these companies. And also what we're looking to do, of course, you have to throw in the goodwill for the the good people of Venezuela, blah, 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 and everything else. But if you like,
blah, blah, blah.
We're the station that cares.
Yada, yada, yada.
Yada, yada, yada. Good people. We love you. Anyway, but you're doing all the above. But if you're doing that, when you say, some of that will be for us, well, okay. What do you mean by that? Are you talking about the taxpayer resources? Are you talking about the corporations? Are you talking all the above? And I would line it out. I would say this is what we're looking
right,
at. And not just one big number. I would demonstrate.
So great point.
This is how much Chevron lost, GM lost. This is when GM's stuff was confiscated, when all their assets were confiscated. It was a big deal.
That was huge.
And the former administrations just really didn't do anything about it.
Well, they put a bounty on.
Oh, that's right, $25 million, which would have covered a fraction of their recovery. I mean, if you think about, I mean, it's so insane. The bounty.
And now in America, we've got mutiny on the bounty.
Yes, exactly. It's just
boo.
But you can demonstrate very quickly,
right?
And you would have everybody, except for, of course, the radicals on your side. I think most people get it, but you need to be very clear. Here's what we're looking at. Look at all these charts. Look at the numbers here, and I would put that out in a release online and let the media run with it, because the media would, there's no way to dispute those numbers. Again, if they're accurate and you cover it completely with all the corporations that have lost money because of Venezuela confiscating their property.
We are Red Eye Radio.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at J.J. Keller. Drivers must always be prepared for a roadside inspection. This means drivers should always have their personal, vehicle, and company credentials organized and ready. The top 2 violations written against drivers every year are log, general form and manner, and log not current. Both are completely avoidable if the driver keeps the log accurate, compliant, and current at all times. Having the vehicle ready for inspection involves the driver conducting daily inspections and making sure any problems that are discovered are immediately corrected. Vehicle readiness also requires the company to make sure that the vehicle is current on all scheduled maintenance and that the maintenance schedule is adequate. This will make sure the driver is being given a sound vehicle to start with. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller & Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. We've for the longest time, for decades, we've been talking about the fact that if you do something, market it correctly.
Yeah.
And Trump with the whole oil thing, market it correctly, as you just said. As we were just making the comments, put it down, bring out the whiteboard,
right?
Have it out there and put down. Here's what American companies lost. Here's what was stolen from America, from Maduro and the socialist government of Venezuela when they shut down American companies and confiscated their property.
Yep.
So when you do it, Americans go, makes sense, makes sense, makes sense, makes sense. This is what has always upset me about Trump. He has a slam dunk and explains it completely wrong, or doesn't explain it when he can explain it and win over the vast majority of independents, and that's always your goal.
Yep.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. I want to play this audio cut. This is back and forth on CNN about Venezuela, and again making the same Betcha Unger Sargon making the same point that we did. She doesn't make it as well here as Stephen A. Smith did. That you can't be for the bounty and then against the capture.
Right.
Because what was the bounty for?
Right.
If there's why is the U.S. putting a bounty? Did we expect another country to go in and do our bidding and then we pay them off?
Well, would we stop them?
Would that have been a better public relations move? I was seeing on CNN that it's mind-boggling. Maduro standing trial for drug. It's like 50 to 14%. The rest are I don't know, but it was 54 him standing trial. Only 14% opposed to it. So you've got to win on it. Maduro's been in the news long enough where people know about it, and Democrats promoted the daylights out of it.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, it's like even Democrats aren't complaining about it.
Right.
When you got 14%, that means you've got a huge split even in the Democratic Party, on this. The political problem for the president is what I said. I was reading about Theo Vaughn's podcast. Remember, he's one of the podcasters that came aboard, supporting President Trump. The interview that he did, which was massively watched and listened to.
Yep.
And
J.D. Vance as well. He's had J.D. Vance on. Yeah.
And they were talking about it, and they just said the Epstein thing, Iran, here now. This isn't America first. This isn't what we were sold by this president. Mm-hmm. And it's not the political problem is not about. And by the way, I agree with what the president has done.
Right.
I'm simply telling you
there's a group that doesn't.
There's a large group, and you can say that it's MTG, it's Tucker Carlson, it's Steve Bannon. That group of people out there, but it legitimately represents a portion of the Republican Party that voted for Trump and also voted for members of Congress that are in now.
Well, and they were, and those individuals you could say were motivators. They were influencers. They had during that election season a great deal of influence. And so their position on that, reflects that group that followed them to vote for Trump. And, it's because I saw the statement by MTG. And you and I had problems with MTG, long before she left Congress. But it's still, again, you have to understand there are people that agree with the points she's making now about things like this. And that becomes an issue when you're talking about, where was it? I don't know if it was Rapid Response 47 or one of the other sites that posted something about jobs yesterday and said it was, of the jobs created, President Trump has made sure that the jobs created went to people who were born in the U.S. And I thought to myself, well, wait a minute. President Trump has also been pushing for visas, and he did so that exchange that he had with what's his name from CNN the day he got kicked out, and he was making the point that we need to have more people come here
Same with
legally.
Laura Ingraham, he made
and
a case
and
with
Laura Ingraham recently,
right? Yeah.
And Jim Acosta, the whole exchange between Jim Acosta.
When you said kicked out, I'm like, kicked out from where?
Yeah.
Oh, Jim Acosta. But recent Laura Ingraham.
But the thing is that if you're one of those who supported that statement yesterday on jobs, or one of those who that was back in 24 was supporting him because you thought he was an isolationist. There's the issue that we said has to be number one is communications. You've got to be very consistent and very clear about who you are, what you're going to do, and what you want to do in the future. This is all of this. If you don't clarify, you start losing support. And right now, your party can't afford to lose support.
Well, here it is. This is Bakari Sellers and we made this point yesterday. We said, watch the Democrats come out and say, we're over there. We're spending military money to go and grab Maduro.
Mm-hmm.
What about America first? What about America first? And they're making this is the exact same case. And I knew it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the back and forth going on here. Here we go.
It's about oil and dollars. And I'm tired of the president of the United States. He chooses Caracas over rural health hospitals, right? He chooses Venezuelans over soybean farmers.
So
he chooses everybody else over Americans.
Did you find the Biden administration putting a bounty on Maduro's head as well?
No, Maduro's a horrible person. He needs to be shackled.
But what is
So Trump just acted on it.
Exactly. What do you mean that you approve of Biden putting the bounty on his head, but not of Trump actually going out and arresting the guy?
Now, we without question agree it was the right thing to do.
Yes.
But it's not illegal what Trump did.
No.
But afterwards, it's like, where do you go with it? And I knew as soon as I woke up, I didn't see it. I woke up and saw the oil thing, and I went, oh, okay. I can just hear the Democrats. So now we're going into Venezuela, and now Trump is trying to make the oil companies rich. What about America first? What about the people out there? What about and that's exactly where Bakari Sellers was going. Plus, talking about Americans were spending all these dollars. In Gaza, in Iran, in Venezuela, and now Greenland. You think the America First portion, the MAGA portion, nobody even says MAGA anymore. As I noticed it in the new year, I'm like, I haven't heard MAGA anymore.
Yeah.
That portion of MAGA is an agreement with the president even mentioning anything about a military force going into Greenland?
Right. No, there's more and more movement on Greenland, and the administration clearly believes they have leverage after Venezuela on Greenland. The president talked about it when he was coming back from Mar-a-Lago, and he was talking to the media on Air Force One, and he talked about strategically why we need Greenland. He was trying to make the case. And I thought, there are, again, this is the group of MAGA rank and file who thought he was an isolationist.
Let me ask you this. What leverage, because when he's got leverage, American military power, one thing that has happened is it's proven we can be extremely lethal and effective and basically do whatever we want. So
political leverage.
Right,
if they think
that would be my point. With what demographic?
Well,
that's demographic in the United States
is point.
Stating that we need to go in and use the military to take over Greenland.
That's the whole point.
Now,
if you see Venezuela as leverage, and you're losing people based on Venezuela, then Greenland is not going to be. You can't be the next step. And then you had Lindsey Graham, who was on Air Force One, jump in and say, yeah, wait, Cuba's next. Cuba's next. It's like, okay, calm down, Beavis. It's, yeah.
Well, but by the way, there's a ton of good things. We're talking about the politics of it now.
That's the whole thing is that if you're piling on, because along the way, if you explain, I agree with what he did in Venezuela. I agree that having a presence in Greenland,
which we do,
which a stronger presence in Greenland would be a strategy, would be a good strategy.
Absolutely.
Do we need to buy Greenland? I don't know. Is $25 million going to cover it?
well, we got the $25 million we didn't spend there.
Right.
So and then Marco Rubio came out trying to, no, we're talking about buying it. We're talking about buying it.
Because he was talking to members of Congress behind closed doors, and the story got out that he was telling them, no, we're not talking about invading. We're talking about buying it and working a deal with Denmark and the whole thing. And it's like, well, there's two kinds of people I can't stand.
Well, but the whole point is that it was the Wall Street Journal article was making the case that he was saying, well, no, we're doing that to get leverage that we could go in and take it over militarily. And I'm thinking, well, you just took away your bluff then.
Yeah.
If that's the bluff you're trying to give, you just gave it. The Secretary of State just said, we're really not going to do that.
Right. And that's the thing is that, if the point I'm making on political leverage is you're trying to win over the hearts and minds and saying, hey, this is why we need to. By the way, when he was doing the gaggle on Air Force One the other night, he made the case as to why we need a greater presence and what China and Russia have in terms of their proximity to Greenland. And that's all a fair case to make. But make that case outside of a gaggle. Nobody watches the gaggles. Look, I'm a gaggler. I'm a gaggler from a long line of gagglers.
You're grappling over gaggles.
I've been grappling over gagglers for a long time. But you've got to make the case. Venezuela, make the case. I think Marco Rubio has done it, but show the numbers as to what Venezuela has done. I think they've been on the large scale. Anybody who's paying attention already knows this. We're the ones who have been following along. So what the case that we're trying to make isn't for those who follow along like we do. And you could still have, disagreements, but if you're making the case and you're consistent in the messaging, then you win over the hearts and minds of at least the critical thinkers. And I think, it's going to be an issue. There's going to be an issue come this November. If the president doesn't keep the House and or Senate, it's all executive orders.
Which are meaningless.
And, aside from being commander-in-chief, which isn't a small thing, and keeping us safe until he's no longer commander-in-chief, then, you're just not going to get the agenda done.
It was interesting because, remember, before Christmas when the president said, I'm putting out the executive order because of the auto pen. Yeah. All the pardons are rejected.
Yeah.
Did that change anything?
No.
Symbolic. Nobody's going back to prison.
Right.
And so it's like, you say it, it's like, okay, but nothing is delivered in it. And you have lost one of the critical core of MAGA that helped you get into office.
Yes.
Now, again, I'm talking as a political strategist. I don't agree. You've seen where Tucker Carlson has gone. You were telling me during the pre-show meeting, you're like, my God, nobody defends Tucker Carlson anymore. You just don't see it.
Right.
But he was a big part of that MAGA. Mm-hmm. Bannon has lost his, influence. Mm-hmm. MTG is out there. That is a certain segment that put Trump into office and also voted for Republicans.
Right.
And we're just breaking down the politics of a demographic that may see no reason to vote in 2026.
But there's the thing. It's not that they completely abandon the president, but if they don't show up at the midterm, that's just as well. That's the same thing.
We are Red Eye Radio.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We're Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. I was trying to think of what was the latest thing that Tucker Carlson was talking about. That the claim that one of the possible motives for U.S. military action was Maduro's opposition to gay marriage. That was the thing. It was like, oh, my God, you just go off the
Yeah.
He's just off the deep end.
Yeah.
Now, look, we were never huge fans of Tucker Carlson here at Red Eye ever, and we took flack for it.
Right.
And we had said in the past, I mean, some of the things he said are just whacked out.
Right.
Absolutely whacked out. And so, but we were never a fan. I was never a huge fan, even going all the way back to Crossfire.
Right.
And I wasn't as big as a fan. There were things that I agreed with him with when he was with Fox, but now where he's so-called, quote, independent, he just throws out, I mean, the whole thing about the UFOs being malevolent spirits, basically malevolent beings.
Yeah.
With that kind of crap is just, sorry, join the UFO radio shows.
Exactly. Well, it reeks of an unsettled mind or just some weird attempt to get people to watch.
Clicks, whatever.
The train wreck effect. I don't know. I can't tell you. But you and I don't spend a lot of time on other people, other commentators in the media, because we're focused on issues.
The issues, yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. But yeah, that was what he was talking about.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Well, our condolences go out to the Reagan family, Michael Reagan, the adopted son of the late President Reagan.
Yeah.
Dead at age 80 years of age. I don't know. Was he still doing his talk show? I don't even know.
I don't know if he was still doing his show, but he did it for years.
I met him one time, and it was I always chuckle about the time that I met Michael Reagan. We had a great talk, but it was this huge function. This goes back decades ago. Huge Republican function. I mean, there were like 5,000 people there. Michael Reagan was the guest speaker. I was the MC. Our conversation started out, "Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. So, what are they paying you for doing this?" "Nothing. I volunteered." "Really? Why?" "I'm making," and it was like $30,000 for the speech.
Wow.
And I'm like, he said, "Couldn't you have gotten 500 or 1,000?" I went, "I just never thought of it."
I'm in radio. We don't think about money.
I'll never forget that. The laugh. He goes, "You got to do better. You need an agent." I'll never forget that. It was So we had like I said, I'd only been done that one time, but it was a great conversation.
Yeah.
But apparently he had cancer. I didn't even know. There was no buzz, that in the industry even, that he was sick.
Yeah.
Reagan, a conservative author, nationally syndicated radio talk show host, public speaker. By the way, I don't remember what the amount. I don't know if it was 30,000, 20,000, 10,000. I don't remember what the exact amount was. Oh, I remember.
But it was more than zero.
It was It was a lot. It was a lot more than zero.
Yeah.
But the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute said it mourns the passing of Michael Reagan, describing him as a steadfast guardian of his father's legacy, which he was.
Yeah,
he really was.
Yes, absolutely was.
Whatever happened? Whatever happened to Ronnie?
Ron Reagan Jr. I don't know.
Just sort of remember how he was.
You would think he would have a greater presence on MS Now or something, like occasionally.
Was he completely and totally alienated by where the Democratic Party has gone? I have to ask that question.
No, that's a good question. Yeah. I don't know. I really haven't kept up at all. Well, I just haven't seen him. But you would think, because he was pretty vocal.
Oh, yeah.
Very vocal. And I don't know why that would go away. Again, it could be personal reasons, but it also could be the direction of the left and where they've gone today. Could he be, much like his father, a Democrat who is no longer a Democrat anymore?
Oh, I don't think so.
Probably not. But he, I'd love to, hope he's doing okay. I mean, but yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
I'm older than him.
Ron Reagan Jr.?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Like by 3 years.
Okay. Maybe he just retired, Just didn't want to be in the in the mix anymore,
Yeah. I just don't know what he's doing.
Don't know.
I just didn't know it. It's just interesting how people because remember, he was quite vocal, during, he was quite the critic of W.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just always find it interesting because all of a sudden one day I go, whatever happened to that guy? Whatever happened to him?
Well, eventually some of us agreed with Ron Reagan Jr. on W. He criticized him for different reasons.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't know. I thought about that yesterday, last evening when I saw a story about Michael.
So we got to talk about it, healthcare.
Yeah.
You and I have always looked at this and said the Republicans are going to capitulate to the Democrats.
Yep. I felt that from day one.
And when I saw yesterday that Trump tells House Republicans to be a little flexible on the Hyde Amendment because we need to win the health care war against Democrats, that we need to defeat. If Trump is saying that Republicans need to be for taxpayer dollars going for abortion in order, to be flexible, which means, what do you mean be flexible?
Right.
Either you pay for abortions or you don't.
Right.
What does be flexible mean? Well, no, just pay for abortions for the poor.
Right.
If that's the case, if they believe, if the polls are showing them that they need to have taxpayer dollars go for abortion after everything that we've been through, after Dodd's, and Trump is telling Republicans you need to be for taxpayer dollars for abortions. There's no other way to spin it. You can't say be flexible on the Hyde Amendment. What does that mean?
Where's the middle ground?
Right. But if that's
for me, there is no middle ground.
If they believe, or the polls are showing them, they can't win the health care debate, no matter how much they compromise, unless they agree for taxpayer money for abortions, then we're doomed.
Yeah,
you're never gonna win that issue.
And at that point, just hand the keys over to the Democrats on everything, because there is no middle ground there, and there is nothing you can offer the other side can offer that would, again, because it's the report makes it sound like this is part of a negotiation. Well, then tell me what the Republicans get in return, what society gets in return. That's a no all day.
It seemed like he was saying, the healthcare accounts and everything else, that this is the thing that we can give them in order to win health savings accounts. I would love to see that. I would love to be a fly in the wall of that negotiation going on, but to Republicans, that's not negotiable.
No.
There are certain things that are not negotiable. That's not negotiable.
No.
You need to be flexible.
Yep.
That means we need to start using taxpayer dollars to pay for abortions. That's a completely different concept than whether, using the states get to decide whether they want to have abortion or not. And if a state wishes to fund abortions, that's a completely different animal than the federal government doing it. You can't do it. The legislature of a state says we're going to use state taxpayer dollars to do it. That's that state's decision.
Right.
But
again,
to throw that out at the beginning of the year as a way to win the health care debate, that's a no-go.
Well, because it's kind of where we left before the Christmas break. It was, well, no, we want basically taxpayer money for abortions. That's what the Democrats wanted. You know, they want the full-on subsidy game still in play. But if the president is hearing that, okay, we'll do the HSA thing as long as the money can also be used for abortion, no, it's a non-starter with me. No. We're in a place right now in our society because we don't value life from the beginning. That's how you get to a point of people cheering on the executioner of Brian Thompson. This is how you get to the point of people cheering on the executioner of Charlie Kirk. It starts at the beginning. And when we don't value life, then everything else will follow. Everything else will then become the norm and acceptable to more and more souls. And I find that highly unacceptable. There is no way.
And all the pro-life groups came out and said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And you're not.
Zero.
No. Let me see. Marjorie, this is, let me see. Pro-Life America President Marjorie Denenfelser opposed Trump's comment in a press release. Hyde, I didn't even know. I said that's non-negotiable for Republicans. She said Hyde is non-negotiable. I didn't even read that. I didn't even see that till now.
Right.
For decades, opposition to taxpayer funding of abortion and support for the Hyde Amendment has been an unshakable bedrock principle and a minimum standard in the Republican Party.
Right.
To suggest Republicans should be flexible is abandonment of this decades-long commitment. If Republicans abandon Hyde, they are sure to lose this November.
Yeah, you want to, again, which is exactly what I was saying, you just hand the keys over to the Democrats. Drop out of the race. You do this, you're going to lose a huge number of people.
Well, it's another reason, I'd mentioned Theo Vaughn with, I don't even know who his guest was, some comedian, whatever, and they were both talking about the fact that, there is that contingent, we mentioned it last hour, of MAGA. It's like, what about America First? This is America First has disappeared. Mm-hmm. It's all about, now, we disagree with where that portion of MAGA was, who believed that Trump was an isolationist.
Right.
We're just telling you the reality of the politics here.
Right.
And they're like, this isn't America First. Now you see the Democrats hitting that.
Right.
Democrats are hitting and saying, what about Americans? Trump's over here. He's over here. He's taking care of these people. What about taking care of Americans? That's what he promised. And, the podcasters now that supported him. And again, they're not conservatives.
No.
Theo Vaughn's not a conservative. Joe Rogan's not a conservative. But when you see Theo Vaughn, he's talking about the fact that what Trump promised to do, he's not doing.
Right.
And that is a feeling not of independence, but of a sliver of MAGA.
Right.
I say sliver because I don't know how big that is. Is it 10%, 20% of the support that Trump has? Well, it has been, when Trump has run, and he has said, we need to focus on America and not elsewhere.
Yeah.
But the news every day is almost every day over the last first term. So much of it has been, and by the way, it's legitimate. The majority of what he's doing, I agree with. I'm just saying what was promoted that you and I said, well, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Right.
No, Trump's not an isolationist. No, he is going to do that. We disagreed with how they were promoting Trump, but this is part of the problem with MAGA, just like it is any type of movement. You get the people in the movement defining the candidate.
After the 2008 election, during the interim period, you and I were talking to, basically saying to liberal rank-and-file people, listeners, and we have a few, we said, look, this guy you voted for, this whole euphoria thing, is going to come to a close at some point for you. Because at some point, Barack Obama is going to do things that you don't agree with. It happens with every president, but it happens to a large extent because of a lack of messaging or all-out lying in the case of Barack Obama. You know, you say one thing and you know you can't deliver it. And you can't do that. You can't lie if you're Trump. Because eventually it comes back and you start to lose that grip on more and more individuals. I can't measure the effect, but we start with this every time. You run like you're 20 points behind. And that requires work every single day. This president is probably, as an individual, the hardest worker we've seen in public office in a long, long time. There's no doubt he's working. But that message has to be on point. And you have to show people that are concerned about whether it's Iraq, whether it's Israel, whether it's Venezuela, Greenland, whatever it is. You have to demonstrate to them why that benefits America every time. Now, he's saying it will benefit America. You got to get to the why. You got to demonstrate that. And I think they're capable of doing it. But it really has to be done right now. If you're going to keep the House and or the Senate, you got to keep both of them. You're going to have to work. He's not on the ballot, but the policies and the economy are always on the ballot. So his party suffers if people on the right stay home. If they feel disillusioned, if they feel like this isn't what we voted for, this isn't what we wanted him to do, then they won't care anything about anybody else in the House or the Senate in his party come November. You can't risk that.
No, and that is, I believe, non-negotiable with Republicans in Congress.
Yep.
But the fact that he said that really deflates I believe, a much larger portion of Republican support for Trump than even the isolationist wing.
Oh, I think so too. I think so too.
Of the party,
it's a significant portion of the foundation.
Yeah, we are Red Eye Radio.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
The trends of atmospheric rivers in Pacific Coast states seem to be winding down. Yet, as USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey says, before that occurs...
This week we are seeing 2 more rounds of storminess. The first one will be in the northwest. That's underway now. We're actually seeing some pretty significant precipitation in the Cascades and the northern Rockies. Before this is all done, we could see another 2 to 6 inches of liquid. That'll be snow at the higher elevations, some light rain as you move into the valleys. And then later in the week, we'll get a quick burst of precipitation in the southwest. That's actually highly beneficial. That's one area that is sorely lacking in snowpack. Unfortunately, this will be another mild system, so snowpack will be limited by those higher temperatures.
What Rippey calls radio silence for several days from a precipitation perspective out west after the last storm system departs the area by this weekend. Potential rains and snows, meanwhile, will move towards the central and eastern U.S. later this week. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley. I'm Gary McNamara. All right. I've got enough emails on it already. I'll mention it.
What?
Jasmine Crockett says, F you to the Supreme Court, since she's going to lose her district, which is the district that I'm in.
That's right. Which is going away. All of you have to move, right? Is that how it works? I don't know. I don't know how it works.
Everybody out.
It's just going to be land.
I will be free. It's like a Jasmine Crockett virtual wall.
Yeah.
I'm 3.5. I did have to correct it. I wanted to be accurate. I'm 3.5 blocks. I thought I was 3.
Right.
I forgot there was a street that goes halfway through.
I heard Beto's about to announce that he's running for the new district you're going to be living in. That could be something I'm just making up right now. But.
Oh, we need a good skateboarder in Congress. We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app today. Listen when you want.
Anytime you want, like right now.
I love this story from the New York Post. CBS News staff clashes over transgender language in internal email blow-up. A CBS News correspondent sparked an internal clash after circulating a staff-wide email urging colleagues to avoid language recommended by a trans journalist group when writing about transgender people, according to reports. The dispute erupted on November 6th when staffers received an email from a prominent correspondent saying the network should refrain from adopting terminology advocated by the Trans Journalist Association. The message took aim at guidance from their style book, which advises reporters and editors on how to improve news coverage of trans people and the stories that affect them. A CBS producer fired back in a reply-all message viewed by The Guardian, saying, it's a TJE style guide. That's what I'm trying to do. Guide us to better coverage. A reporter for the news site Semaphore later reported that the correspondent who sent the original email was Jan Crawford, CBS News national and legal correspondent based in Washington, D.C. Let's start with something that should be obvious. Journalists deal in words, so it is perfectly normal for a newsroom to discuss, debate, and yes, even disagree about language, she said in a Tuesday statement to the Post. Happens all the time. Now, we know what this is about. And she said, our audience is well aware of what biological sex is. There is no need to put it in quotation marks as if it's an alien dialect or an obscure technicality, she concluded.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. The Trans Journalist Association Style Guide lays out a set of editorial best practices urging journalists to center transgender people in stories about their lives and to rely on self-identification for names, pronouns, and gender. It also flags terms such as biological men, biological sex, biological men, and biological women as especially fraught outside medical context, recommending alternatives like assigned sex at birth and cautioning that some language has become politicized because of you.
Right.
Oh, my gosh. What is it like to be Bari Weiss every day right now?
Oh, my gosh. I'm not sure if $150 million was worth it.
Weiss's Let me see here. There is blood in the water, one CBS journalist told The Guardian when asked about Weiss's tenure. Well, we knew this was going to happen. We had no doubt this was going to happen. Right?
Well, no, it's the moment we saw those headlines, that the deal had been done, it was like, I don't think this is going to be pretty. This is going to be ugly all the way through because because the first question we had, you and I had, is what are you going to populate the CBS newsrooms with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to be, so let's just say you went in and, this wasn't going to happen, but let's just say you fired everybody. Where do you start in populating those newsrooms to find true journalists, right, who can go and do the work? And do it the way that you believe it should be done. Bari Weiss has done some very good work in recent years, and that's the idea. You want true journalism. I don't know. I mean, I think you could count them on one hand.
Well, everybody fell into it. Through the years, we've told you that Fox News played that game.
Yeah.
They used the pronoun. The preferred pronoun of individuals who said that they were transgender instead of their biological sex. If it was a trans woman, they would say she when it's a he.
Right.
And if you're in journalism, it's about the truth. It's about science. It's about what you are, not what you think you are in reporting. But as we know how the left thinks. And it's insane. And the perfect example was when Josh Hawley was talking to that Berkeley professor a couple of years ago at that Senate hearing.
Right.
And she said, "You're transphobic." He was asking her, "Well, explain to me this whole transgender thing." And and she said, "Well, just this line of question is transphobic." He goes, "What do you mean? What do you mean it's transphobic? I don't understand."
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Well, do you believe that men can have babies?" He goes, "Well, no." See, that's transphobic. It's like, what are you talking about? That's transphobic. It's a biological fact. She goes, "No, because of what you're saying, you will upset members of the trans community, and the trans community has one of the highest rates of suicide." And so what she was saying was that, and then my next response would have been, well, there's a mental health problem here. That's transphobic to say that. No, that's what you're telling me. You're telling me that transgenders, you're communicating to me that their mental state is so bad that if I ask questions, please explain yourself to me because I don't understand. It defies biological sex that I can't do that because they'll commit suicide. Well, you're ignoring the mental health problem to begin with.
Yeah, it's again, there's an entire culture. Even if you could find, let's say, somebody you were confident with, to, again, populate the newsroom or to help build your journalists and anchors and everybody else. I mean, 60 Minutes, all of it has to be under a microscope. But there's that culture that's not going to go away, even if you believe they could do decent journalism. There's certain aspects of the culture that's in place that I don't think in our lifetime is going to be completely done away with. So I don't know. I mean, Bari Weiss has taken on a pretty noble job here, but I don't know how successful she'll be ultimately and how much can be changed without massive battle along the way, which could take years. And then eventually what happens? Well, CBS looks at it and says, we need our newsroom to be more settled. We can't have the culture wars going on. We need to get back to, worrying about our product that we put on the air or whatever it is. I'm not saying that, but I could see them saying that, we just don't want the mess. We don't want the everything that comes with it.
Well, the only way, and we said this early on, the only way Bari Weiss can change it is to fire everybody.
Right.
That's the only way,
where you start.
Right. It's the only way that you could, if your whole goal is we need to be fair and balanced, the only way you can do that is to fire everybody.
Yeah.
It's like you see it happen, for example, you and I have been in the radio business for years. And so there are format changes. This format isn't working. We're playing all classical music all the time. Well, we don't have the audience that we want, so we're going to change to country.
Right.
Well, you're not going to keep the same people from the classical music station to the country music station.
Right.
You're going to let people go. Or I'll give you a better idea. I like this one. Here, a liberal talk radio station.
Hello, I'm Al Franken.
Which didn't succeed very well. But you're a liberal talk radio station, and it's like, this ain't working. We need to go conservative, and you keep all the same hosts. But seriously, I mean, that's actually closer to it, isn't it?
I'm Al Franken, make America great again.
Right. I mean, it's ridiculous, but it's the same thing.
Right, exactly.
Because they don't believe, Bari Weiss, we hope you're listening, they don't wish to be fair and balanced, as we have said over and over again.
They're activists.
They're not journalists who got it wrong. They're political activists who don't care if they get everything wrong. They feel no shame. Their goal is to push an agenda. It is not to do fair and balanced news.
No.
And so if you don't recognize that from the top, you're never going to change it. You're not going to convince people that are political activists to be fair and balanced.
Right. No, you're not.
By the way, that was my impersonation there, if I got a little loud, of Stephen A. Smith.
Well, it's the problem with, again, trying to build a newsroom from scratch is that, tell me, how far back would you have to go? Because it is generational. There are very few young people in the media right now who are actually doing journalism. I mean, Bari Weiss, I would put in that group. I don't know her exact age, but I mean, in that can have an on-air presence, that can do Bill Mallusion. I think people are doing great work. But honestly, it's a handful. It's only a handful. You're not going to have enough people because it is generational, because these are individuals who grew up thinking these things. They're fully indoctrinated. And then, I'm going to go to journalism. I'm going to get on the TV. Somebody's going to give me a microphone, and I'm going to say my piece. I'm an activist. That's where it started. They weren't, in journalism and then said, I need to do more of this. No, they got into journalism because they're an activist.
Right.
Because it facilitates that. It enables them to go out and be the activist in front of an audience.
And if this doesn't prove to her that these people need to go, then nothing is. It's not going to succeed.
Right.
Because if you can't, because you can write the story as a journalist. This person who believes that they are transgender, which is they believe that they're the opposite sex, believes this and wants this done. That's how you explain it.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't admit that this person who is denying all biological science. Oh, by the way, you can't say biological science. There's a reason they don't want you to use the words, because the activists are trying to push you further and further from the truth.
Right.
And your mistake, CBS, is believing that these people are in the journalism business. They're not journalists. They're not in the same profession that you're trying that you're trying to create as an industry.
And all along the way, they don't think they're wrong at all. They think you're wrong.
Right. They think you're wrong for not being an activist.
Right.
And so we said the problem you're going to have at CBS is you got to fire everybody, just like you would in a format change if you had a liberal station that was going, he said, sorry, this isn't working, we're going to go conservative. Well, let's keep the majority of the people there. We'll fire a few, but keep the majority. What do you can't.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
It's a different job.
Right. It's cultural.
Oh, I'm telling you. And this shows right there. They're not going to, if they don't give up on the insanity of the radical transgender movement, there's nothing that they're going to give up on.
No.
We're Red Eye Radio.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Yeah, so I just whenever I see the CBS stuff, I just shake my head, going, and I think it's a great thing to pay attention to, because the question is, are Democrats or the media, is there any intent? Do they look at anything in the past and say, this is a mistake what we're doing? We don't need to be political activists. We need to be journalists. Well, of course not, because political activism is a completely different job than being a journalist. And the Bari Weiss and everybody else at CBS better understand that. But again, the challenge they have is, if they wipe everybody out and they're fair and balanced, is there an audience watching TV that is there for them? That's the business challenge, I believe, that they have.
That's it. Because what were people tuning in for? Well, you'd be surprised how many tune in for the activism. They want their
right.
The people on TV to be activists.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.